This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's the final day of the group stage, and today 4 teams are going to be fighting it out for the last 2 spots in the playoffs. Let's find out who makes the top 8, shall we? And hello everyone and welcome back. It's day 10 of VALORANT Champions, coming at you live once again from the COEX Artium here in Seoul, South Korea. Golden Boy here on the desk. We got Mimi, and joining us for the first time, it's Steel, all the way from EMEA. Right?
EMEA, yeah, absolutely.
Noted
None
European.
of this NA stuff.
Noted European commentator.
Straight
Steel.
from Berlin to here, you know, no stop off anywhere else in between.
Absolutely not.
Well, pleasure to have you here, man. We're going to have a good time today. And let's go ahead and yap about what we saw yesterday on this stage, because we had 2 fantastic matches. And first up, it was Gen G taking on Sentinels. And this one, I mean, Gen G, they were the favorites coming into this tournament, but Mimi, it was Sentinels' day.
This is an absolute shocker. Sentinels winning every pistol round, every bonus round, and absolutely plastering Gen G. I think the scoreline only ended up being 13-6 because of some texture clutches. It was just an absolutely unbelievable result.
I definitely, you know, never had a doubt about my Sentinel Kings there. They were looking so strong. One of the big things, though, is how confident they were, and you could hear it every time we went to the replay. You could hear it in the voices in the comms.
Yeah,
and Fnatic, right. I mean, it looked rough for a moment there. Crew taking map number 1. I think they've actually looked better than I expected on a lot of these Neon implementations. For Kesnet, the team play looked great to start off, but 2 close maps to close out. Durka stepping up and having a fantastic match, and they advance to the playoffs, and at least one of our favorites stays alive.
Yeah, I mean, Fnatic is definitely one of the favorites. I love how just well-rounded they are as a team. They have the set plays, they have all the defaults, they control the pace of the game, but they also have the individual pieces.
Yeah.
And we got to see Chronicle really shine there as well. Normally you look for like Durka, who did it on the 3rd map finally.
And something that you said about, you know, Sentinels having that confidence, one of the things that struck me with Fnatic was they kind of kept themselves mentally in the game the entire time as well. They were smiling, they were trying to keep themselves motivated.
Dancing.
We talked to Boaster about it. He said that was a very important part of it, and that's the reason why that, you know, one of the many reasons why that they were able to move past Crew in that match.
Yeah, it's been a big point of growth for Fnatic. I think for a long time, like a year ago or so, they were kind of known as a team who would crumble sometimes on the mental, but they've definitely shored that up. They've been in positions like this before on big stages. They know how to come back in and step back up.
Yeah, fantastic stuff that we saw across the board. Let's go ahead and take a gander at the bracket and where we are right now in the tournament. And look at this, all filled out. We only have 2 spots left remaining here, but Steel, if you would have told me that the layout would have been like this coming into the tournament, I would have called you a gosh darn liar.
Well, when it comes to Group A and Group B, the actual, like, who made it, who progressed, I kind of got those right, so I'm looking good on my pick'ems at least. I don't know what I guessed here on the predictions for the,
you need today to be okay today, right?
I need today to be okay, yeah.
I don't think anyone guessed Trace making it out as the number 1 seed, though.
Definitely C and D gets a little bit murky, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy that our first match today, one of these teams is going to be eliminated. They were both of the upsets that Trace got to progress into the playoffs early on over both LEV and Vitality.
Yeah, and these are the 2 teams that people were looking at as the potential heavy hitters in this group. Now they're going to be fighting for that final spot on Group C. And then on the other side of that, of course, we're talking about Vitality and Leviathan. And then we have PACIFIC going up against EDG. These 2 teams, Mimi, meet every single damn time, and I feel bad.
Literally every time. It's a classic for a reason. PACIFIC has dominated that matchup historically, but they knocked EDG out at Shanghai and defeated them at home. So I think a bit of a chip on the shoulders for an EDG who has looked good this tournament and whose region has really stepped up with that aforementioned kind of Trace shock.
I think a lot of teams have this chip on their shoulder for this event coming into this. And, you know, all these teams are looking pretty solid as well, so it's not like any one team is a guaranteed shoo-in over another team. And I think we've been seeing that all throughout this event so far.
Yeah, no, the competition's been insane. I mean, it's champions for a reason, right? Best teams in the world. We're all here to, you know, to really show off and what they are capable of. And, I mean, so far, it's been absolutely brilliant. But, of course, that brings us to today's MasterCard fan poll. We want to know from you, lovely people at home, which which of the teams you think are going to make it out of groups, all right? Go ahead and vote. You got the QR code right here. You got Leviathan, Vitality, Edward Gaming, and PaperX. Of course, we'll go ahead and check the results at the end of the pre-show before the first pistol round. And make sure you make your voice heard. Go ahead and use hashtag VALORANT Champions as well as VCT. We can feature yourself in a broadcast. You know, I say it like 1,500 times, so you guys should already know this by now. All right, now, let's go ahead and move on. Let's have some fun. Shall we? I'm a big fun guy. All right, we got Steel on the desk.
Having allowed.
So I'm gonna bring him into our insanity. Let's do this. All right, because we're wrapping up groups, it's time for us to take a look back at the past 2 weeks of competition and our favorite moments. A little flashback, if you will. Not the player, most notably, just a segment. First up, Mimi. All right, what you got for us?
I picked the obvious one, which was just the Trace story.
Okay.
Their first ever global match. They show up, they're a massive underdog against Vitality, and they come out, they win it, not by any one individual having a fantastic game, but by having a great macro throughout the entire match, and I think showing one of the best implementations of Cypher Deadlock we've seen on the global stage thus far. And you saw it on the players' faces, how much it meant to these guys. What a cool story it's been.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when we're looking at these guys, it's their own Cinderella run, and you know we're going to get to talking about Vitality in a second. You know, they took out Vitality, and they were having a bit of a Cinderella run of their own coming into this event.
That's a good point there, right? Like what they have managed to do, no one thought that it was going to be possible for them to do it, and here they are, first seed coming out of their group. Unreal stuff. But all right, Steel, what's your favorite memory?
My favorite memory was the Group D sleeper group of death.
Okay.
Because not anybody really would have thought about this group. It was the Heretics, Gen G, Sentinels, FPX group, where everyone's like, yeah, this is by far the group of death. You got all the people coming in from these other Masters events, and these, these are guys are going to be the ones that make it to the finals of this event. And, you know, but it's here. PRX, EDG, G2, everyone and Foot, they all played each other really close.
Yeah.
It went 3 maps in a lot of cases. It went double digits. They were, you know, Foot had PRX on the ropes on that first map. You know, maybe did a little bit of a choke there towards the end of it, which let PRX just steamroll them on that bind second map. But that was an insane group. That was all playoff quality games, and we saw it in the group stage.
And EDG and PaperX, I think, have also both looked solid this tournament. I think they're both showing to be playoff quality teams. One of them has to go home here, so whoever makes it out as that second seed from Group D, I think it's a real testament to their form right now and how much potential they have going into playoffs.
Yeah, a lot of people were always throwing over toward the Gen G group, because obviously any group of Gen G is always going to be that.
I mean, you have 3 Masters finals. It's the obvious answer.
But, you know, even if we don't have, we're not going to show the pick'ems right now, but when you look at the pick'ems, you see how close the parity is between all the teams that are on there, to your point, Steel. Yeah, and actually my favorite memory kind of adds on top of that, because for me, it was G2 getting first out of their group. I have been such a big fan of this team for a while now, you know, of course because of Valen, he's our boy, but also because they just play such damn good, structured Valorant. It's fun to watch. It's fun to see them do their thing, man, and I'm really excited to see what they do in the playoffs.
To me, they seem like one of the most refined teams at this event. They have such good discipline. They're so good at slowing down and finding that gap in their opponent's game plan. I think Valen's calling has been consistently excellent across every global event they've been to this year. And it's their first year in the partnerships, pulling all this off, and now a #1 seed in playoffs.
These guys were all no strangers, though, to the big leagues. Yeah, it's their first year in partnership. They had to send. They do have that experience under their belt, and then you also have other players coming in like Leaf, so you have that perspective, a different perspective. You have that skill, you know, taught by the best himself. So, but I think we're seeing a lot of teams right now being able to slow down the game like G2 is, and we haven't really seen that since the old Viper Astra meta that first came out and had to force everyone to play slow. Now everyone's doing it deliberately, and we're seeing that all throughout from pretty much everyone except for PRX right now, maybe.
Yeah, that was like the style that defined the best teams at like Champions 2021. Your Gambits back then, who were so good at that slower style of Valorant, and now we've kind of come full circle with these really good teams with the high levels of discipline.
And also another thing that I've been really liking too is that everyone's kind of got their own thing. You know, their own thing that makes them unique, that makes them them. And, you know, for G2, it's the slow pace. For PaperX, it's W Gaming. You know, some players rely on the coordination. Some players rely on the contacting. It's really, really cool stuff across the board that we've been seeing. And overall, I mean, all it means is that the playoffs are going to be really freaking incredible. Now, that was a little bit of fun. Let's have some more fun, shall we? So this one's going to get a little sillier.
It's gonna be fun for somebody.
It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun for me probably. All right. So we've been in Seoul for a few weeks now. So let's go ahead and see how much we've caught up on the language. All right. And we've picked up, a little lost in translation segment here. So here's
What
how
have
it's
you
gonna work.
picked up on the language?
Ne, which is yes. You say
No,
ne.
it's de, right?
No, it's ne. Oh my God, Mimi, you're absolutely crushing my soul.
Don't
here.
look at me.
He just got
like
here.
I know.
All right,
I'm
here's how
pretty
it's going to work. We're going to do a sound line, one of the voice lines for the characters in Korean, and then there's going to be multiple choice options, and you in the chat can go ahead and play, and we are going to try and guess which choice it is. So, very easy game. Here's the first one. It's Jet. Let's go ahead and hear it.
저리 비켜!
Okay?
I'm gonna say get out of my way. I'm hearing like 4 discrete words in there, and it's excited. It sounds like an exclamation of some kind.
It does sound like an exclamation. And is it watch this?
I think it's because honestly, watch this. It's my
저리
favorite line.
비켜!
Why did you slur your
Because whenever I see the Jet 1 trick in my server and they
A
pop
lot of saliva.
that's what they're doing. That's how they sound to me. I think it's A.
I'm guessing B.
Okay? Steel?
I'm gonna have to pick one of the two of you. There were a lot of words. It was wordy. I'm gonna go B.
Okay. All right. We got B. All right. Let's
The
see. What
yapper
it is.
line.
What is the
저리
option?
비켜!
I hope I'm right. I never get to win these. So, got to see what the choice is. Should be coming up in a second. Oh,
Boom.
come on.
Nice.
Man. Just
All right.
Great choice, Josh.
absolute travesty.
Very wise.
Absolute travesty. All right. Up next is Clove. Let's see what their voice line is now. I'm quite curious because I don't know a lot of Clove's voice lines.
Heckin' love this team.
That's a question. That's an easy question.
You can hear the drop in the
that's-
intonation.
yeah.
빨리 사라져줄래?
Yeah.
That's A.
that's
Yeah,
A.
that's A. It has to be A, but the
I'll be
question mark.
shocked if it's not
I
A.
feel like that drop in intonation is pretty universal for asking questions across a lot of young.
It could also be C.
The inflection.
We're
Yeah.
just too good.
No, that
I don't
there was
think that would end
but
down.
yeah, 100% there was
no,
inflection
A.
there.
All right, lock
A.
it in. A. Let's see what it is. We had an A just a second ago. Wait, was it A or no? It was B actually.
B.
Okay, see, look at that. I already got it wrong.
빨리 사라져줄래?
Oh boy. And
It's gotta be
survey
A.
says,
Oh! All right, well.
Well, we look like idiots. now.
Don't let the portal hit you on the way out.
I don't think I've ever heard that in game. Have either of you heard that?
I can't say I have.
In English, that is. I wonder if the voice
Barely
lines are
played
like
Clove.
different.
So,
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Next one. We'll close it out with ISO. All right.
할머니,
Let's see what we
제가
get here.
해냈어요.
Oh.
I want to
할머니,
hear it again.
제가 해냈어요.
I think it's A.
I can hear the pause.
Do it one more time.
One more.
It might
할머니,
be C.
제가 해냈어요.
Haimone. That sounds like it could be all right. We're finished.
I
here.
think it's C.
Or it could be Grandma. I
Or-
did this to make you
I
proud.
think he's doing it for grandma. All right.
Come on,
I'm
Nick.
going C. Mimi?
I'll go.
You might be right. I'm gonna go A.
Thing is, I get these wrong all the time, so I don't know if I have the capability
I'm just,
here.
you know what? Let's fan it out. I'll go B just so we
Okay.
can max spread this. At
Okay.
least
Okay.
one of us has to be
Are
right
you
unless
trying to-
it's over.
Are
Accept
you
it.
min-maxing the game right
I'm in-
now?
I'm in- yeah.
Appreciate
And that's
it.
base.
All right, let's see. Survey says, what is
할머니,
the voice line
제가
here?
해냈어요.
Is it a shout out to grandma? Shout out to
Grandma.
grandma,
Shout out,
dude.
Grandma.
Let's go. All right, well, look at us. Well, look at me. I finally got one right. Now I feel like I succeeded for today. I'm done. Anyway, joking here. All right, let's
This was tough. It was all like newer agents, I feel like. Because like
Yeah.
a lot of the like Jet voice lines, if you like watch the VODs of like VCT Pacific, you'll hear it in Korean.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I can remember some of them, but I don't
Yeah.
know any of the Clove and
Yeah.
so
I do not know. My voice, my memory is just terrible in general, so that's why I always lose. All right, let's go ahead and talk about some Valorant, shall we? Because we got ourselves a big matchup, a real David and Goliath story here, except both teams kind of took a lick in the trace earlier on in this competition. It's, of course, going to be Vitality versus Leviathan. Let's start first with Lev, because Leviathan, Mimi, I mean, this is a team that has been forged to win championships. They have
Yes.
2 world champions on their team. They have one of the greatest players in the game on their squad, and yet they can't seem to put it together at the global level.
And they had great individual moments in this series, but this was defined by the same issues that Leviathan had in Shanghai. In these high-pressure matches, the fundamentals starting to fall apart. People making solo plays, people early flanking, trying to go off on their own. These little mistakes mistakes compounding against a Trace who plays really slow, really structured Valorant and punish those mistakes consistently.
And that's a scary notion going into this matchup today as well, where you have the decider game against, you know, a team of Vitality. Yeah, maybe the overdogs is the team of Leviathan, so that's going to mount up that pressure on top of them. In combination with other factors that we're going to talk about in a second here.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that's especially concerning because what defined this team in VCT Americas was coming back and fixing their structure, really spending time as a team practicing just the simple stuff. We're retaking, how are we double swinging? What are our exact protocols to do all these different things? And I feel like we're seeing what was their biggest strength in Americas fall apart in these important matches. And he's got to wake up.
Indeed he does, but I mean, he more than likely will in the server because, you know, it's Aspas is what he does. That was Aspas, right? I believe I didn't see the, I didn't catch the screen. I just assumed that sleeping was Aspas. I didn't get a chance to look at the screen. All right, well, let's go ahead and check in with one of the members of Leviathan. You see him on your screen, Tex, and earlier today, Yinsu had an opportunity to get some words with him. Let's check it out.
I'm now joined by Tex here from Leviathan. Now, you are in a familiar position. You've been here before. Similarly, at Shanghai, you had to go up against an EMEA team when it came to relegation, elimination even, and it didn't go too well for you guys. So how do we make sure that we don't repeat history this time around?
Yeah, I could say this time we really focus on ourselves. We're not really focused like where they're from or like what team it is. We're really just focused on doing our stuff correctly, and if we do, we can beat any team from anywhere. So that's just our mindset.
They said they have some anti-strats for you guys as well. Are you ready for that?
We're doing random stuff today. Good luck.
I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much.
The cool, calm demeanor of Tex as always, but in the loss to Trace, Tex, you know, he did manage to keep the game relatively close. He was a big performer. He always has been a bit of an X factor for this team.
Absolutely. Tex is a very scary player in the server. He was really making a name for himself last year, competing with the Guard in Challengers, playing the primary duelist role for that team, then jumping ship and going over and taking this opportunity with Leviathan to completely change to a new role, playing on the Sentinel. And I think what has been so good for him this year is his side anchoring. There's a lot of moments where Leviathan is playing these like strong sides with Aspas with 3-4 players around him and Tex is left alone to anchor. But I feel like he's so good at finding the gap in an execute, isolating that kill or two, and his mechanics are almost always good enough to get his and put his team at advantage, even if he loses his sight.
I think that's a major highlight point for Tex, is that his mechanical skill is really good, and obviously if you're not on Chamber and you're only on Cypher, it's a lot harder to pull off a kill and stay alive. But one thing to point out is in that interview with Yinsu, he said doing stuff correctly, and part of being on that role of Sentinel, if everything else is kind of falling apart and you have to start scrambling in the middle of the rounds, it's hard to get your role off. And if people go to him, it's going to be easy, but otherwise, they're really kind of like plan-heavy thing, and if that was falling apart, it comes down to the fundamentals and everything else that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, no, for sure. And but another thing to note as well, and you just saw it pop up on the screen there real fast, but you got yourself some champions on this team as well. So you're going to need not just guys like Tex showing up, but you're also going to need guys like Aspas and Calm also showing up in this server too. And I know Calm's always, down on himself whenever he doesn't play as well as he feels like he should. Meanwhile, on the other side, you got Aspas, who has genuinely just been consistent for this squad in that duelist role.
Yeah, some of the individual mistakes in their last match I think did come down to Calm, especially on that bind, but Aspas stepped up and kept them in it on map 2 to be able to make that a closer series against Trace. These are 2 of only 3 players, including Sassy, who's already in playoffs, who do have a chance to win a second champs. And for Calm, you know how much it would mean to him in Korea to win back-to-back, to go on this run, but it has to start here in an elimination game in the groups that they probably didn't expect to be in.
Yeah, family's all here. It's going to be a lot of pressure for him, both, in his mind, in the server as well. But we're also going to get to see Aspas go up against Safe today. And, if you rewind back to Champs last year, Aspas was the one who sent Safe home. But on top of that, Safe is now in that duelist role here, Steel. And, I think he's found that rhythm. He has the trust within his team. The question is whether or not they're going to be able to bring it against Aspas and the crew today.
So brief history is that Safe, earlier in this year with Vitality, wasn't in that duelist role. He was playing other roles, and they kind of did a role swap towards that stage 2 and caught everyone by surprise, making it not only to the playoffs, but also going deep into the playoffs, taking out Team Heretics along the way before finally faltering to Fnatic. And in this part of their Miracle Cinderella run, they started to look so good, and now Aspas has that pressure mounting against him, and Safe has better teammates, a better team around him, arguably, right now. And now, can Aspas do that again?
And I mean, Safe has talked about it. He said how much he loves the team he's playing for, how much he trusts the players around him. You contrast that to the last time he played Aspas. It was a low for him in his career. He's talked about how much he disliked playing on that Team Liquid roster. And obviously we all know how that ended with some disparity between the players and such. And Safe now moving on and kind of bettering himself and coming out, making it to another champs. It's a very different situation. And I think it's really his chance to prove that he's not that player who showed up to international lands last year and failed in both of them.
Yeah, what better way to do it than to take out Leviathan? America's champions, 2 world champions on that roster would be absolutely mind-blowing. But for now, though, let's actually hear from one of the other members of Vitality. We have Runner, who is standing by with Yinsu for some thoughts.
I'm now joined by Runner from Team Vitality. Now, the last game you guys played was super clean. You looked great, but today your opponent is going to be, I think, maybe a slightly different beast. So what do you need to do to make sure that you keep that up and make sure you come away with equally clean game?
I mean, it's probably going to be just play how we played, to be honest. Like, it was against Chase. We didn't play our game. They caught us off guard, of course, as well. But against Talon, we recovered, and also we don't want to go home yet. We love the food here, we love the weather, so we want to stay a bit more. And today we're going to be full focused on, like, we did some anti-strat stuff like that, but we're going to see what happens. We'll just be focused on our game, so whatever happens, happens.
All right, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Runner. Good luck.
The only thing I took away from that was him saying that we love the weather. And as a man who's sweating literally as I speak to you right now, okay, I don't know how that's the possibility.
There's something in that honey that he's having right now.
Yeah, I mean, he was wearing a sweatshirt outside. It's like 96 Fahrenheit with 90% humidity every day.
Yeah, blood's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's going to be wild. All right, well, let's go ahead, though, and talk a little bit more about Vitality, because this is a squad that we were a little concerned. We saw them lost that matchup against Trace, and then they had a big bounce back, because I think a lot of people felt like Talon, they could potentially upset here, but instead Vitality still doubled down and were able to pick up a big win.
Part of this, I think, is going to be down to how Vitality is kind of used to this EMEA playstyle, and a lot of this stuff, especially at the top of it, if you look at Fnatic and Heretics, are the top dogs in that region, and then even if you look at Foot, they play a completely different style than what they're up against here, and we haven't really seen them get the distance in like any international event. They haven't gone the distance in regional, so it's very difficult for them to kind of figure out how to adapt and adjust to these teams on the fly, and maybe the loss to Trace is going to give them a little bit to bounce back from.
I think a lot about this game comes down to questions about Leviathan's form and how good their fundamentals are, because I think this game for Vitality was all about punishing the mistakes that Talon was making in these man-up situations. So many rounds where Talon had an opportunity in a 5v4, even in a 5v3, and then Vitality, I mean, to their credit, stayed in the round, had some great moments to bounce back, but that game should not have been anywhere near the stomp it was, especially on Lotus. However, if LEV is struggling like they were in that last match, I really trust this Team Vitality squad to punish those same mistakes.
When it comes to Team Vitality, and especially if we keep that safe talk in context here, it's that they are a good team together. They play off each other well. They set up a lot of these big macro setups, and then individually they also have the mechanics. But we've seen them regionally have these really high highs, but they can also hit these really low lows where things start to fall apart for them and they're not kind of vibing. The same way that we could see it from Leviathan.
I was going to say, literally same thing.
We see the same thing, but what it really comes down to is kind of, is Leviathan able to get off their set plays, like the start of the round ideas that they have, or are they going to get jammed up? Because we've seen Safe be able to do that with an opt, especially on certain maps where he gets to play Jet.
Yeah, like if we see that Sunset, especially where he is on that Neon, I think that they have a lot of those early ideas on their defensive side. They can kind of take control of the pace of rounds with Safe.
Yeah, so, you know, again, both of these teams, right, the potential is through the roof. But for now, though, we actually did get an opportunity to speak with Kix about the big win over Talon and his first ace in this Omen player moment.
Hello, my name is Kimmy Lasner. My alias is Kix. Obviously feeling really good, me and the whole team. I mean, the key thing for me is the fact that we finally won a game 2-0. Like, the last time we were able to do that was the first game of Split 2 against Team Liquid. So it's like a really satisfying feeling to come off with a clean 2-0, just end things fast. I've always wanted to ace, but I never really had like, this game I need to ace. So like when I get like 3, I'm like, guys, I gotta go for it. But in the game when I killed the 5th guy and it was like the Clove revive, I was like, you know, if the time just runs out, you know, we win the round, but I was like, I need to get it. And I just full sprinted towards it, and I got the 6K. Like, after that, I just felt unstoppable.
Waiting for reinforcements first. Right out through here. Trying to take point and contact. Still Kicks! You cannot be dominating this! My God! A 6-piece available, and here, and now!
I mean, about Leviathan being the strongest team in the group, like, after the games we've seen now in our group, it shows that it truly means nothing, because the one team that no one had going through even, or even winning a game for most people, turned out to go out first, which is Chased Esports. And I think if we just keep up the same performance against Leviathan, we'll be completely fine. Like, we know that for us, if we show up as 5 team members, not 5 individuals, like, we're gonna win every single game, if we just remember that fact.
Man, you got to think how motivating that has to be on that stage, get a 6-kill ace, and on top of that, you got your boys all hyping you up. Like, this is a squad that very much operates on the vibes of the group, of the unit, in order to find their success.
And again, I'm seeing a similarity to Leviathan there, because we've heard in the player interviews very similar things, where the team has those individuals that can win matches against worse off squads, but you have to show up as a team. You need everyone on the same page to actually win these matches at Champions, which has been, I think, the struggle at times for both these squads.
You're absolutely right with that, and you know, Vitality do hit the same. I mean, we've talked about this before, the highs and lows, and when it comes to Valorant, because there's so many different variables, there's different regions that have different styles, it's very hard to be able to just in the moment be able to adjust to whatever you need to do. So when you get jammed up, if like, let's say Aspas gets set up alone towards B with an op or a rifle and he gets taken out, the team had full confidence in him to be able to stand his ground, get his kill, stay alive, and now when that falls apart, how do you adjust from that? And if you've been crushing it, especially in the regular season, by doing that style, and you've never been tested where it's like, okay, what's next if he does die? Well, you have to figure that out here and now and fast. Yeah, no, indeed you do. And of course, there's going to be a tall task on the hands of the IGL of Vitality. You got Sender, who wildly, I did not put 2 and 2 together. Guy's been here since the freaking start.
Yeah, this guy has been on Vitality since February of 2021.
My guy's a lifer.
In that time, he has seen 31 different teammates and coaches cycle in and out of this roster, and he is the only constant from that roster. He's been there for the lows in 2023. He's been there in 2021 and 2022 when they were playing in Tier 2 and had to grind up and eventually then get that slot in the Partnership League. And it's so cool to see him now come full circle with a team that is actually managing to pick up wins at a global event.
When we talk about, you know, 5 individuals versus an actual team, when you're cycling through so many different players, you have kind of a lot to learn from in terms of mistakes, with results, losses, but then you'll also learn to see things from different playstyles, different perspectives that all these different teammates bring in, but also it comes down to the type of environment and the chemistry that you build around everything. So, you know, just because you've had all these teammates and you haven't had the results, you get new teammates coming in, they have different perspectives, you gel better either personality-wise out of the server, but also in terms of the roles can mesh a lot better, and then you start gelling really well. We're kind of seeing that resurgence right now from Vitality, and that's going to be so important, getting them the distance here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. That is something that they really harped on at the beginning of this event, right? How they had each other's back, and they're going to need each other's back when they go up on that stage. But all right, let's go ahead and take a look at the results of our MasterCard fan poll. Earlier, we asked you folks which team's going to make it out of playoffs. You chose chose, or make it 2 playoffs, chose PACIFIC and Leviathan right behind. No one giving time of day to Vitality or EDG. I don't know, man. I think not giving EDG that time of day might be a little bit of a mistake.
Yeah, I think that second match is really closely matched, and EDG, I almost expect them to win that game over PACIFIC. And I think Vitality as well have a better chance than people are giving them credit for.
When it comes down to...
What,
okay. She actually said no.
She actually said no.
Is she allowed to do that? I feel like she...
You know,
well, she did it.
She did it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's done.
They put it on the graphic.
I see.
But you know what, though? I mean, looking at this, it doesn't shock me, Steele, because honestly, either of these games can go either way.
Both Joshes did the same things there, so I just wanted to post. Yeah.
The Joshes are of one mind, you know?
It really could come down. What it comes down to is their map pool has a lot of this overlap, and the strongest maps are probably going to be seen here. And when it comes down to that, that's scary if you're Leviathan. You have that pressure mounting on you. You're the better team, and then you have, you know, the best maps for the underdogs.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be wild stuff. Let's go ahead and get this show started. The final day of group stage. Leviathan versus Vitality. EDG versus PACIFIC. Day 10 of Champions Tour starts now.
You train your whole life for moments like this. Before I stepped on stage, I had one goal in mind. And that was winning a singular game.
To finish this map, Vitality survived.
For Safe, he lost 0-2 in groups last year with Team Liquid. He was determined not to make that happen again.
Now I'm only one game away from playoffs. And that's a chance that I'm not gonna let slip.
Goal on King, 1 versus 2. They're gonna try and play this, and they almost line up, but almost doesn't win anything.
Whatever you did in playoffs, it doesn't matter anymore. You're in champs. Anyone can win, anyone can pull an upset like 3 teams already did in the span of 2 days. The player that most stands out for me is Saif. It's gonna be fun playing against him.
I know things are gonna be sloppy. We're gonna brawl. We're fighting in the mud, and I enjoy that.
Obviously, one of us is going home, and that's not gonna be me.
EDG, since we are getting them like every single international match, it's just like screen for us on international stage.
只是从我的视角来看的话 ，PR 叉最近的那一场比赛状态感觉不是很好。
You guys are too stiff right now. Everyone is waiting for someone to take the charge. None of you are leaders right now. You have to be more aggressive, more confident. You have to fight them, boys. Alright, let's go.
Kankan in real life, he's really cute. He's friendly to every single person. But when it comes to the match, he becomes a demon.
Yeah, progress again. 我们又遇见了，在同一小组，我们真有缘分。然后我觉得命中有他吧，可能真是缘分。
One of us needs to go home, so let's put on the good show.
Leviathan. Team Vitality.
It's the ambitious underdog versus the team forged to win championships. Neither squad would thought that they would be in this position here and now, but there's one spot left in this group, and one of these two teams are going to grab it.
And Josh, we talked about this. Both these teams have really similar strengths in their map pool, and we're starting off on two maps that both these teams have been very comfortable on. Sunset in particular interests me, where they both picked up a very similar neon look, just the difference between that KO and the breach.
When we're looking at these maps and kind of a decision to go down this road of picking into your strengths, both teams have the same strengths, like you pointed out. So it's going to be Icebox and Sunset as the first two opening maps. And, you know, Vitality is not even a stranger to Ascent, so leaving that as the decider map, they were 3-0 on the map until they just narrowly lost 13-15 just earlier this week. So even though that's kind of the go-to map for Leviathan, you know, Vitality could still have them there. So it's anyone's game up until, I think if, Vitality, they're looking good on Sunset too.
Icebox to start off though, this is one of the maps where Leviathan is still playing that Harbor Viper comp that a lot of teams have moved away from. It's a little bit more common in Americas, but not a lot of teams are playing it over in EMEA. And for my money, they have one of the best implementations of this comp. In particular, their attacking sides, their site executes. I think Mizzino's utility on the Harbor is always really well timed, and they know the intricacies of those walls, how to scale around them. And I think this is a tough comp to play against if you're not used to it.
It's a very difficult comp to play against because, and especially in the EMEA, I don't think I've seen a single
Is
team
anyone
running.
playing it?
I don't believe so. Koi did play the composition,
but it's not common in their
It's not common. It's one team. I don't even think they ran in split two. And so when it's up to Vitality, and we're gonna see it coming out here.
Nothing changes
Nothing
here
changes.
at all.
It's all unsafe to be able to get ahead of this stuff. It's only just the Sova to clear him out. He needs to get that op up. He needs to get it fast, but he's on attack at the start here.
Yeah, he has such a chip on his shoulder as a player. He's been to multiple international events, has only gotten 2 wins on the global stage. His last win was his second in a long, long time. And facing up against Aspas and the incredibly strong side anchors of Leviathan, King and Tex, I think he has a lot to do on this attacking side, especially with that Harbor util we're talking about in front of him.
I'll just highlight Safe one last time here. He's going to be the person that on the attack side, he's going to get in their faces and jack them up before the retake can come in for Leviathan.
Yeah, it's going to be a tall task on either side of the field, but it's going to be an exciting matchup. It's now time for map 1. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. Always ready for a solid fit check. It's my boys, Doug and Baby Bay.
Thank you so much, Chibi. Dre, we bring and we get to see the conclusion of Group C today between these two squads. I think Mimi mentioned it on the desk. She was the one who brought it up, and I think Steel made a lot of really good points too. This is not a comp. This double wall comp that Vitality are about to have to reckon with is not something that's common in EMEA.
Yeah, and maybe they've scrimmed against it, but in terms of matches, the only thing that they've played against recently is the solo Smoke Harbor, and that was against Carmine Corp, in which they did take the series, but it's so different when you have firepower behind this Harbor wall like Aspas and Tex. These are two players that have shined for the side of Leviathan on this map and have made Icebox their stomping grounds.
It's a map that they are comfortable with, a map that is a strength of theirs. It seems like they may be, they're already moving up across the middle of the map. Tex is the first to fall. The desk was mentioning Safe in particular needing to be the one to get Vitality online. That's a great start.
And that's something you see Tex do quite a bit on this map. He plays that Killjoy mainly like a duelist, and a lot of the times it's to control all that mid space. Aspas is going to take some pop shots, have to fall onto that angle, but he's got to get something working for his team right here.
He is by himself so far. We're starting to see the Harbor utility go up. Aspas posted up behind it. The dart's really nice to make sure that there's no one who's disrespected the wall, so they can play ahead of it. They can play a little bit more aggressively. Really nice shots out of Calm already. The dink on to Safe. He cleans 2 up.
What great awareness from him to just span, track him through the wall like that. It's almost like he had X-ray vision in that moment. What a prediction from Calm already early on.
And that's going to force Vitality to take a step back.
But look at the movement from Leviathan, the proactivity. They're meeting him.
They're a step ahead of it. Calm's got to be careful, though. Crosshair's facing the wrong way. And that will be a punish from Sender. King, though, punches right back at the exact best time. 3 for King, 2 for Calm, the pistol for Lev.
What a play from the IGL. He was the solo warrior on A, pushing through by his lonesome. Everybody else meeting the face of Vitality's fighting squad in mid. And it was looking really good for Vitality from start to finish of that round until King got that flank and just got the job done. Look at this tracking through the wall. Just what a prediction from Calm. it's so impactful.
Enemy remaining.
And the poise from
30
King.
seconds left.
Oftentimes, we talk about King a lot in terms of his macro, IGLing. It's great, but his individual performances on this roster, it's also something that is shining for the squad. Drone does spot out Ospas, but when you're playing a Jet on this map, you can try to punish any type of players, but I don't know if he is aware that Safe is going to have an outlaw of his own with light armor.
With King close by, Mazzino rotating over. No challenge yet, so the dash will expire. That's big as you think about Vitality trying to get out onto the site. Safe trying to get out onto the site as well.
Yeah, he's just going to be here trying to get a pick while the main focus of Vitality is to make noise at A, bait out a rotation or bait out a re-clear peak of Leviathan at B main. It shouldn't be a full commitment for Vitality here at A site. I think they're going to just put a lot of pressure on it, a lot of utility, a lot of noise.
Ooh. The dart goes off, but it doesn't tag anybody, and they don't clear it either. So it was wise timing out from Com. The suspicion's confirmed. Tex gets 2, the third will fall.
Spike down A.
And so things really kind of crumbling for Vitality here. The only weapon that they had, as you mentioned, was the Outlaw. It will not find a kill. And LEV are flawlessly cruising their way towards their second.
And that's tough now, because that's an upgrade, actually, for the side of Leviathan. That's not something you say every day going into an anti-eco round, that you can get an upgrade. Dropping the Spectre for that gun, you're going to take that any time of the day. It's worth way more. It's way more impactful on gun rounds. It seems like it could be, especially on a map like this with such large sight lines. Icebox is such an aim dually type of map. And look, there's 2 members of Vitality that have light armor. If they're the forefront, or if they get caught out, it's going to be bad.
You wouldn't expect them to be the forefront, to be the ones pushing forward, given who they are and the agents that they're playing, but you're right. Losing them would be so painful. Again, the refreshing of the Harbor utility, the wall going up towards A. Vitality, I guess expecting some of that mid-pressure that we saw on the pistol.
Yeah, they're pinging this. This is all spots that Tex likes to push down on his lonesome often. But this time, just more standardized team play from Leviathan. Ospas versus Sender. This is that light armor duel I was talking about earlier.
That was really nice pathing and timing from Sender, though. Tucking behind the box as this wall goes down. Does Ospas know?
I mean, he has an idea. Can't quite connect. Gets some nice damage, though. Sender's sitting at 50 HP now.
They rotate back towards A. Remember, this would be a bonus converted if Leviathan are able to pull it off, and it's not a weak one either. Especially in these tight fights on A with how chaotic the site can be. You've got the Stinger, you've got the Spectre.
Yeah, and you just cycle walls infinitely, it feels like.
Yeah, you're forced to challenge these walls.
30 seconds left.
With 30 seconds left, I don't know if there's much time to go elsewhere. You've got Sender, who's tried to post up across the middle of the map. Calm will fall. Tex, though, posted up close. That's now 15 seconds left. The clock continues to tick. Really nice opening frags out from Kicks and Runner, but with 13 seconds left, the spike's still not planted.
10 seconds left.
A little bit of space taken now.
Spike planted. Thrash is ready.
So Spike finally does commit. They've got the ult to play around 2.
It's a very quick Thrash. King is definitely going to get detained here. Oh, wait, he wraps it back around, but he can't pick that up now. These Outlaws, they're going to be holding that line.
Here.
Vitality, they're all in one-shot range right now. These Outlaws could do some serious damage.
Aspas creeping forward. No dash. This feels very difficult. It feels very labored.
Good discipline from Vitality in this post plant so far, not giving an inch.
Yeah, I like that a lot. You're right. Aspas now pushing forward, Kicks taken care of, dealt with, but instantly responded.
It was a very cool timing that Sender took all the way up middle on his lonesome after taking that 1v1 against Aspas, who just couldn't connect. He got a couple classic shots, some damage onto him, but that timing made it so there was an A split in full effect. And the approach from Vitality, I like how they're working the entirety of the map.
Yeah.
That dart, late dart on Com, he just wasn't ready for that. And yeah, the gun advantage working fully in favor for Vitality.
And you know, we were talking about how with these walls, they're kind of forced to, you're going to have to flash through it, you're going to have to get past it and disrespect it in some way. And it just so happened that in that round, the gun duels were the ones that made the difference.
Yeah.
Aspas has an op online with Goop in his face, has to take a step back and reposition. Meanwhile, again, Leviathan encroaching up across the rest of the map. You've got Calm who's taking space mid. Safe is already dead.
This is one of the first rounds Aspas has been geared up towards A site. A lot of the times when he has the operator online as well, when you do prep work against Leviathan, you see him towards B main. He'll take that whole entire line, and then, you know, Leviathan will stack A site. So that's why Vitality were trying to contact all the way up, but they got met by the operator. Aspas is not going to whiff shots like that. Not when there's so much on the line.
I mean, this attack side for Vitality has been so slow, and I don't even necessarily say that in a bad way. I just think the approach that they've had to this has been very tempered, very methodical.
They've been doing a good job of trying to bait out the timings of the Harbor walls and the Viper walls. And then executing right after that with utility.
Thing is, you cannot wait forever. That's another kill found for the op. King is denying a lot of this space B. Not that there's really any time to rotate away, but they're going to have to deal with the crunch. The alarm bot will keep them back if he decides to commit to this full rotate.
Spike planted.
King is taking so long on his way back, deciding not to flank.
And it's leaving things in a 3v3 on the side. Remember, Aspas is weak with the op in hand. It's going to go traded 1-for-1. Sender dealing with the turret, but not able to deal with Tex. And now it's Trex who's left in a 1v3. King has finally joined the fray. Trex has way too many things to deal with here. Yeah, there are a couple of members weak, but this feels like a really difficult task. One member over the top, and that was a one given. Perhaps ill-advised, but the spit cleans it up.
Yeah, the numbers game, it was just in favor for Leviathan. They played to their advantage to a T, and they're going to play like this a lot in this half. Be looking forward to every time they get a first blood, they'll play on that second, maybe even third layer, and play like a retake style. The Harbor and Viper combo, it's so good, especially if Mazzino is still alive for the retake. You can isolate so many angles on A site, on B site with that Harbor wall. And Aspas, he's just going to hold a line for his team while everybody creeps up forward.
That's done.
I think the difficult thing will be to continue to see how Vitality decide to play on the knife's edge of these walls. Right, because you see it, they creep up about as close as they can, and then it's like they kind of stumble, I guess, or indecisive on how they want to approach it. They try to play their timings as best as they can, and they just haven't found much success.
Oh, that's a tough one. That's your smokes player gone right off the rip. Calm, his intuition was on point right there, spamming away the drone to follow up. Safe, he has no dash because of that.
2 Guardians left for Vitality. They've gotten a little bit of space here.
Yeah, it's so awkward, though. Everyone's just corralled in mid. Aspas just now picking it up. But Leviathan, they're okay with giving this space, and they're aware of the gaps that they've created.
Yeah. They're just kind of leaning into the limits. They're okay. You're absolutely right. They're okay with giving this up because they know that they're still strong elsewhere. They can afford to give this area up.
Yeah, and even if Vitality make it all the way to B site, there's crossfires, right? A player in yellow, that's Mazzino, Calm, all the way in Snowman. And once a player makes contact, Aspas will come all the way back, pick this up. So many different crossfires in full effect here.
They just had to dart back spawn, too. And so this contact style, again, will be the play for Vitality.
It's such a slow approach, but I really like it. Oftentimes in matches like this, in high-pressure situations, that slow play can make mistakes from the opposite team.
Dude, this is just so tough. Again, they don't have any walls. They don't have any smokes.
That's a great pick, though.
That's one for a runner.
Aspas only has an op. Leviathan, they're so worried about all these different angles they have to clear.
Well, I think it's part of the doubt that's instilled when you've been sitting and staring at the map that's been quiet this whole time.
No way.
I thought Safe was going to get away. Aspas stashing forward through the window into kitchen. Concealed by the smoke, but Trex was waiting just on the other side. Really nicely done. King's got the defuse to have. Can he deal with the gunfire on the other side? Not yet. Calm's going to have to do it on his own, and it's going to have to be an ace if he can pull it off. Swings into 2, and he cannot. A MasterCard thrifty for Vitality.
That slow approach, I said it, right? Oftentimes in high pressure moments like this, elimination on the line, when you slow rounds down like that, it puts doubt in the enemy team. That retake was so slow from Leviathan. They didn't want to make any corners be unturned, and the time worked against them. Vitality were able to formulate a plan.
Nice. This is how we do it.
And that was
Good job.
taking
Voila,
out
ulti
Tex
tube from A.
and basically icing Aspas. The two A players were so isolated, so worried about pushing up.
I wonder how much longer this war of attrition can go on. Who's going to get antsy? It seemed like it might have been Aspas there. Great response from Kicks.
What a shot. Looks like Vitality's warming up now.
With the attack side op in the hands of Safe. And Pistols attempting to stand strong on the other side.
And then again, just a freeze to the round. Waiting for any mistakes Leviathan are going to make. And this is good. They understand they have gun advantage. And Leviathan are most likely going to want to push and try to even up the score.
Especially given the weaponry that they have. I mean, yeah, why not?
Got an attack operator in play for Safe. He'll probably transfer that once the site exec comes through.
The thing is here, though, for Vitality is, you're right, as Safe hands over the weaponry, they're pushing into all four. They're going to find one. That's a jump scare moment. Yeah. But that's all it is. A Safe dashes forward. Mazino will fall as well. These Pistols just really not able to stand up to the firepower on the other side. Of course, it's a classic that gets the kill in the face of everything else. But Vitality ties us up at 3. And I think as we continue to see how this will play out, Dre, 4 ults on the side of Vitality and the op still. Sorry, make that 5. They've got a full house.
That's so crazy. This is Kick's second ult. Remember, he used it in that first gun round that they had.
Yeah.
And they converted that. What's impressive to me so far from Vitality is the approach and the game plan. They understand that they have to go in waves and layers. Once that harbor wall comes up, we have to freeze. Wait for our utility. But they understand their win condition. That's how you have to play against the harbor comp. It's a time game.
Yeah, and it definitely seemed like all the conversations that we had about would they be prepared to deal with this double wall comp, it seems like the response is to burn down the clock as long as they can. To play around those timings, as you were just mentioning.
And that's the thing, right? When you're running this double controller comp, you can almost just want to use it off the rip. You know, your rechargeables. Oh, I'm just going to get it back.
Yeah, sure.
But Vitality are taking advantage of when that harbor wall comes down and when that Viper wall goes up. It's been such a pleasure to watch so far.
Yeah, it's just such a unique approach. Because oftentimes you see these walls and you go, okay, they're just going to flash through it and they're going to fight and they're going to find a way to get there. King's going to get detained, but should be able to stay safe. The pit's still a factor as Sender's already creeping up across the middle of the map. He's going to find a kill onto Tex. Forget it.
Wow.
That's King. That's the pit.
King was detained, remember?
I thought he was safe enough to where it wouldn't be a problem, but an excellent punish. Vitality got through that with only investing 1 ult.
That was another prep work round. Seriously.
I don't know that LEV are going to be able to make their way back into this round, and it's just gotten worse with Mazino going down.
No, they're getting hunted. Trex, he's next up. Aspas, a little bit aware. Oh. And Trex, he's been so good all tournament long. So I'm not surprised that he's winning head-to-head against Aspas, even though Aspas is, you know, well-renowned as one of the best duelists in the world.
Defeated.
Calm is actually having quite a game.
He will keep the weapon going into the Nexus. Vitality take the lead. I imagine there's got to be a timeout called here relatively soon on the side of Leviathan. Vitality showed up to the stage today with a game plan, and they're working it to perfection.
Yeah, and they knew into that round that King, if he invests that Viper's pit, he's going to play in that back part of heaven. That's why you saw 3 players already geared up towards mid, and that Thrash going all the way to detain him. He can't go anywhere at that moment.
Oh, but
he doesn't want to leave the pit, so there's only one spot for Sender to look at and just spam.
Yeah, you're right. He did have nowhere to go if he wanted to keep that pit up. Right on cue, Leviathan does call a timeout. Down 1 round. And I wonder here, I mean, what's the adjustments that Leviathan have to make? Because I can't imagine Vitality, given how all of the success that they've had in the last 5 rounds, I can't imagine their approach changing much.
Well, I think it's clear by now for Leviathan that they're getting hard countered. So they're going to need to change their own game plan, change their own defaults, maybe their own timings. And maybe you can be a little bit aggressive into this round, you know, specifically. Your guns are kind of whack, but you do have jet knives online for Aspas. But I just feel like Vitality right now, they have such a good read on the game and a good read on how Leviathan like to play this defensive side. Unless Leviathan change something drastically, it's going to be very tough to crawl back into this.
For as much as Adess was talking about how Icebox is a strength of Leviathan's and probably their strongest strength.
It is. They're 12-3 on Icebox this year.
I mean, they've been made fools of the last 5 rounds. They've got Calm with a rifle here, full armor. The prized possession carried over from the last, and as you were mentioning, I imagine Aspas will pop the knives.
Mm-hmm. Hasn't popped them quite yet. Maybe waiting for some audio cue.
That first harbor wall goes up. This time they're ahead of it, but King's on the other side.
What a shot.
It's just one, but that's a small win. The question is here, do they accelerate? Do they fully send over to B?
A lot of teams do in this moment when you have good advantage. Even in yesterday's match, we saw Sentinels do the same thing. That cascade will make it so Mizzino can break that Dizzy.
Yeah, Wingman not able to accomplish the mission.
Apology. It's another freeze for the round.
I'm surprised they're investing his lockdown here.
Yeah, they just don't like what's amok.
Yeah.
Ooh, those knives can't connect. Aspas has to get out of there quickly. A little bit of a pop shot there. Calm, he does break that alarm bot, but he's going back to reconvene with his team.
So as has been the case for Vitality this entire half, they wait things out, and then they go, yeah, one player got detained, but it was all for naught. You've got the alarm bot that's intended to control the flank if they decide to re-explore across the middle of the map as Aspas, again, still with Blades online. And Leviathan continue to push forward. Now with the lockdown of their own, that is going to bait out Trex's ult, and it will clear it out. A tit for tat. But now what? They're investing the Reckoning into this as well. Remember, they didn't have very much as far as weapons go. They had the knives, a Vandal, and a Stinger. But that might have been all they needed as runners left alone. In a 1v3, make that 2. Time is short, 8 bullets left. Mizzino's gonna have to hold this. Aspas over the top. The Blades will clean it up. And the defuse just barely comes through.
The MasterCard Thrifty. What a round from Leviathan. It was such a slow approach. I thought surely Vitality were going to have that one in the bag, and that was 2 ults invested as well. The lockdown, the Hunter's Fury, and it was all for naught. Aspas with the knives, suppressing fire from the top as that defuse came through. And yeah, as soon as Aspas gets a couple kills in B main, Mizzino opts to use that Harbor ultimate. Big investments from both sides, but ultimately Leviathan come out on top, and they needed that one bad.
Now they're back on steadier footing. Again, an op in the hands of the defense. A pit for Sender, and again, you know, we were talking about this because once Kix gets this ult up, this will be his 3rd of the half.
That's obnoxious.
They're really min-maxing that. Which again is, I mean, that's one of the strengths of Gecko. It makes a ton of sense.
And especially with the way that Leviathan like to play around the harbor walls. If you get caught out behind that by, you know, that little guy, you're gonna get punished.
Welcome to my world.
A pit invested. Is there a response on the other side? No ultimate to speak of for the defense. Safe getting pushed off the angle, and Mizzino's gonna fill in right behind it. The dart is good.
Huh?
Aspas getting 2 with the op. He's now pushing forward, but again, the pit is in play. It's still something that has to be dealt with.
There's Thrash.
And it's so tricky to find. There's no dash for you to get out of there. Did they tag both? Tex pushing forward. Sender falls. That's going to be the pick going down as well. As comes down the defuse to half. Make that 3/4 of the way. He's going to stick it. It's going to come through. Leviathan take the lead back.
And Aspas cleans up the round. Can we get a replay of that collat that he got? That was just a random pop shot through the smoke, through the pit. And Thrash was invested. Pit was invested. Look at this. No way.
Yeah. All right.
Can't make that up.
All right.
Just unlucky, and the molly being a little bit off, what, like a centimeter off as well,
slam the
allowing for the stick to come through. That's a tough pill to swallow if you're Vitality.
Into the next we go. Safe deciding to go with the attack side op once more.
I can't believe Vitality can still invest after the way they've been losing the last couple of rounds.
And they, I mean, it's not just this round either. They've got a little pad to play on.
Tex has been checked all map long around mid.
Here.
In the most common angles that he likes to hold is off angles. Drone is used to get info, only Kicks seen. Levitan's still not aware that there's an attack operator in play, and King will get the head-to-head against Sender.
And so again, the attack side is forced to figure out how they find success on getting the spike down and holding onto the post plant without their controller.
And with that dart being, shot in full effect, getting info, they see that Safe had an operator as well. He did not switch to his classic or anything of the sort. So King needs to be very, very careful in this moment.
Hey, look at how far back he's
30 seconds left.
But if he tries to actually take a 1v1 and not hold an off angle, he can get picked by that operator. That's why he's playing passive.
Yeah, he's got to play his life here.
Yeah. Oh.
But it's a tempting swing. It's a tempting barrel found, and he's going to find 2-3 on the round. Almost tapping away onto the forest. Safe with the op in hand. Yes, he's going to connect, but I don't know how he's able to get the spike down. I don't think he can.
No. Oh, wait, maybe now? No, you got to save no matter what.
Yeah, but the thing is, he doesn't really have a ton of places to go. Is able to dash away, though, so he'll carry that into the next, but for as much as we were talking about King needing to be safe, needing to stay alive, he will go down. He gets 2-3 for his troubles.
King solo anchored that B site. He won the head-to-head against Sender, and then those one taps, they were crispy, they were clean. It was very neat work.
There's that 1v1 you were mentioning again. King on the swing out. Yeah, that shot and Kicks was clean.
It just looks unbelievable. Kicks did a backflip. Facts. So it will be a timeout now for Vitality.
As you see the vintage Aspas timeout position.
And now for Vitality, you've showed quite a bit of contact style, contact approach. Maybe you're going to see a change of pace, more execute-heavy round. Safe. He wasn't able to save that operator into the round. So he will probably be on a rifle. And it is a good time to change the pace, honestly.
Yeah, but are you not expecting that on the other side of a timeout, too? For as much as we've seen slow round after slow round after slow round, you would expect, okay, this is now when they're going to dial it up. This is where they're going to try to hit you in the mouth.
But LEV don't even know if they can handle that yet. They don't know if they can weather the storm of the hit because they haven't had to yet.
Sure.
So even though you know it's coming, you really don't know how you fare. Obviously, Leviathan are going to be confident, playing behind that harbor wall and trying to hold as much space as they can.
If I'm not mistaken, we've seen that wall from Sender every single round towards B. So on the other side of the timeout, no change there. The turret's still mid as well. I mean, so far we aren't seeing much of a different look.
Oh, this is new. Leviathan, they've done this quite a bit in NA.
I'm really surprised that they didn't give that orb over to Com. One away from his ult, they decide to give it to Mizzino instead, and they're fully pushing here. They've got the drone over the top, and they're going to have a swing down low.
Oh, the timing.
I think he heard it. He's got to understand there's a little bit of threat coming, but he's been left on his own to his own devices, trying to stay alive, and Yaspas goes down, but that's the safety valve. So now they're going to have to deal with the crunch, and it could be coming from mid, it could be coming from spawn. It might not matter, though. They've fully lost contain on the other side, so Vitality gladly will push all the way into spawn. Understanding the threat is behind him.
This is such an impossible retake, it feels like. When you look at the minimap, like you said, yeah, Mizzino, he gets taken out for free. Com with the follow-up. It's just going to be all she wrote for this round. Good reactions from Vitality, the speed up, taking all that space, and something very uncharacteristic from the side of Tex. When they run this strat in North America, when we saw it in playoffs and etc., he's usually playing very, very passive, very far back because he is the lone warrior on the site. This time he tries to take an aim duel very early on. And if he drops there, that's why everyone can just push up Snowman.
Right.
And there's crossfire, infinite crossfires on site.
Yeah, he
nice. 6-6, guys. Let's go.
We are just one round away from that being reality. 2 ults on the side of the defense. Meanwhile, Kix is on track for getting, I've lost count, I think that's 4 or 5 ults in a half.
It's definitely been part of the game plan, is farming that ultimate. And Aspas, a rare whiff. What was that?
But it was enough info for Calm to pop his ult.
No connection, yeah.
Kix just froze. He decided not to move at all as Aspas is going to try to double dip. The drone clearing one away. They did not spot Mizzino though, so he can take this aggressive angle. He can be a little bit closer up. He's going to find a loop around the Thresh, and he's going to punish onto Trex. But can he get out? Does he even want to get out? No, the spike is down on the ground. Now they've got the Reckoning as the Wisps give away more presence. Sender with nowhere to go, safe, pushing the matter, taking the fight to Comms Lab. Runner will too. It seemed like such a secure round for LEV, such stable footing. But Vitality snatching it back. The one thing they haven't grabbed though, and all of that, is the spike.
And now there's a pit on top of it.
There are no flashes for Vitality here. There's nothing for them to really be able to disrespect this and take the fight. The one thing advantage that they have, though, is that they have numbers here. Aspas is so far off, he's back in spawn.
Oh, Mizzino might get taken out by this.
It's only one found. Runner now, still alive. Still without the spike in hand, and with 13 seconds left. How in the world does he do this?
There's no time. Surely Mizzino, he cleans it up. 3 to the round. And Leviathan, they'll take the last round, 7-5 half. It was a bit of a back and forth exchange throughout this entire map. But Leviathan off of their timeout, they made good adaptations. They stopped the contact approach that Vitality was having a lot of success with.
Somehow, to be honest, I don't really know how, because it felt like they were still finding a lot of openings. They were still finding a lot of success. Either way, a 7-5 half, the way of Leviathan. We do have a special little interview standing by. Calm, heavily beloved in the Valorant scene. His fiance standing by on the stage right now. Let's take a listen.
Hello everyone and welcome to the halftime interview. I have Maddie, Calm's fiance, here with me to talk about today. 콤 선수의 약혼자 메디님 만나보도록 하겠습니다. 먼저 오늘 레비아탄이 꽤나 중요한 경기를 앞두고 그리고 지금 플레이하고 있는데 오늘 콤 선수의 컨디션 좀 어때 보이던가요? So for today, it's a big match for LEV. It's do or die. How was Calm feeling this morning?
Calm was feeling great this morning. He was in a really happy mood, a goofy mood. He woke up and he started playing all this fun music. So of course we had a dance party this morning. So the vibes are good today.
Okay. Can you show me some of the moves he was pulling?
Those are classified.
Okay. 콤 선수 오늘 컨디션이 굉장히 좋았기 때문에 또 음악도 크게 틀어놓고 너무너무 해피한 상황에서 둘이 좀 댄스 파티도 하면서 좀 분위기를 북돋았다고 컨디션 너무너무 좋다고 했었고 그리고 콤 선수가 그러면 뭐 어떤 춤을 췄는지 조금만 보여달라고 했더니 그거는 비밀이라고 얘기를 했습니다. 그러면 또 파파콤도 그리고 콤 선수도 이번 챔피언스가 특별하다고 얘기를 많이 했거든요. 메디님도 이제 콤 선수의 한국 쪽 가족을 많이 만나볼 기회가 있었는데 전반적으로 이번 챔피언스 경험 어떤지 물어보도록 하겠습니다. So Papa Calm and Calm mentioned that Champion Seoul has been extra special for them, you know, coming from the Korean route. You got to meet their family on the Korean side as well. So what's that experience been like for you?
Being here in Korea and meeting Corbin's family is absolutely awesome. They're super, super sweet and they made this delicious food and I'm super happy to be here and meet everybody.
콤 선수의 한국 쪽 가족분들이 너무너무 잘 대해주고 굉장히 친절하게 대해주셨고 또 메디님이 온다고 하니까 정말 푸짐하게 한 상을 차려주셔서 음식도 맛있게 먹었고 이렇게 해서 좀 멀리 있는 가족들도 만나볼 수 있어서 너무 좋은 경험이고 기회였다고 얘기를 하는데요. 그러면 마지막으로 콤 선수에게 응원의 한마디 부탁해 보도록 하겠습니다. Now I saw you guys, you know, exchanging the looks and like you guys were waving hands together. So anything you want to say to Calm?
Yes. Corbin, I hope you have a super fun time. Be goofy, have fun. You got it. Love you.
항상 재밌게 오늘 경기 치르고 그리고 에너지를 잃지 말고 좋은 경기 펼치라고 응원의 한마디 해줬습니다. 이렇게 해서 메디님 만나봤고요. 부럽네요. 아이스박스로 다시 돌아가도록 하시죠. Now back to Icebox.
Thank you so much, Jen. Yeah, Leviathan up 2 rounds here. Now they're going to be in the attack side. I think, Dre, we just saw an attack half that I don't feel like I've ever really seen before. It was just such a methodical pace, and we've seen how Leviathan likes to approach the attack side of Icebox. I don't think we're in for the same idea.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to see a much different of a pace from Leviathan. That was so unique from Vitality. What a unique game plan. And just freezing to the rounds off a weird space taken.
Speaking of space taken, look at how far up Safe is already. And he's by himself here. He's been inserted. But there's no one to help him in case the fight goes his way. The only one who's kind of close by would be Calm. That bullet buzzing by. But meanwhile, Leviathan, all attention other than Calm towards B. Sender playing back yellow with a little bit of help over the top from Kicks. He dashes backside. I mean, Sender's going to have a lot to deal with.
I mean, it's this contact approach from both teams. Maybe we're in store for a similar half from Leviathan.
They've crept up, and we saw the insertion of Safe across the middle of the map. Now we've got the same thing for Aspas, but you've got Leviathan who's rotating back mid.
And Safe hears all of this. Lev need to be very careful in this moment. Wow, one and out.
One shot, one kill. Beautifully done by Safe.
He's led the charge in both pistol rounds, Doug. But Tex answers back on a Trex.
And the thing is now, there's enough doubt. There's no real understanding of which way they're going. As the orb continues to go up and down, there's not enough cues to understand if they're going back A or going back B. Yeah, they have the Killjoy utility towards A, and that's enough of passive info to understand it's a B hit. That shock whizzing by, not doing a ton. 13 seconds left. King on the flank. Spike still not planted. Runner now trying to do a bit of the same. It's Aspas by himself. I don't think he's going to get this either.
No time.
I mean, Kix is going to try to hunt him down, and he's going to find him.
The slow approach. It worked against Leviathan, but Safe. What a round in the middle of the map. He was so confident taking all those aim duels. He double dipped, triple dipped back in. And for good reason. He basically single-handedly gave his team an advantage into that round. What a shot off the rip. If this is what we're in store for, it's just going to be aim duels across the board, contact style, 50-50s. And Safe, he's looking very, very calm. So it will be another pistol round win for Vitality. And an outlaw buy from Safe once more. 2 Bulldogs in play. Trek's the only one sitting on that Ghost, but it's only light armor for Vitality. So although they committed a big investment on the actual arsenal of weapons, you know, the guns, they don't really have the armor to match that. And that could be very, very bad for them. These classics can do so much damage.
That hurts. That was just one molly.
But a lot of space gathered.
The second one popped.
It's a free B site right now.
I don't know how free it is. Sender's right there. And Trex is close by. Runner's close by. It's an illusion of safety. It's an illusion of being able to waltz into the side and get the spike down, but it's all for naught.
What a great molly. Oh my goodness, just fishing him out. Aspas on his loneliness. What can he do?
Another 1vx situation where there's way too much being asked of him.
And just like that, it's a tie game. Oh, Trexy couldn't find a rifle, so a little bit worse for wear there. Good damage done from Lev, considering, you know, how that round was going at the start of it. That molly damage, that setup was pretty clean from Vitality.
I mean, both have so far. I know we've only seen 2 rounds on this defensive side for Vitality, but this map of Icebox for them so far has been incredible to watch.
And Kix has been so impressive in this entire map. He's already 2 orbs away from another Thrash.
Here. Cascade on the other side, the ping through. If there's any tap of the spike, you imagine there will be a barrage of bullets.
Icebox actually just trying to take any type of timing he can. That drone will make him have to waste that dash out.
See those walls going up as well. There's the dash that you mentioned expiring.
Oh, Safe just saw his shoulder.
Now the drop down, the spike still leaning towards A. You've got 2 members from the attack side creeping B, but not fully committing yet. And another freeze to the round.
It's so insane. Everyone is so scared to make a mistake, but it's for good reason. The shots that these players have been hitting from both sides, they've been instant. No one wants to make a mistake. No one wants to be that guy that loses the round for their team.
Comstart is back up. Ooh. And then the wall is refreshed too, so a little bit of making some noise B, trying to clear some utility, intended to manipulate the rotations back towards A, but discipline from Vitality once more.
Left.
And Mazzino, he was the lone warrior there. He just got taken out for free. Trex is going to hold that angle any day of the week.
It seemed like the fake was going to be B and then an end A, but with Mazzino going down A, they decide to go for the other plan. The problem is, again, there are 10 seconds left in the round. Almost all of Vitality is here. With the lighter weaponry, they still have a meal of Leviathan. The bone is converted.
Vitality are stuffing Leviathan in the chokes. And it's not even off the back of that much utility. It's just the fear of their aim alone. Leviathan don't like what they're seeing on the map, so they're second-guessing themselves. They're going back and forth like a seesaw. And then the time just runs so low, and they can't do anything. You're kind of forced. You're kind of forced to just have to rush in with no time left. You can't really do your due diligence and clear out everything. You're just going in blind at that point.
Right.
So LEV, they need to up the pace. They need to be more confident and not be so hesitant. That's what we're seeing right here. It's just going to be their A hit.
It's an A hit with Stingers, a Guardian, and then a couple of Sheriffs.
Ooh, Save gets taken down very, very low. Put the Dizzy over the top.
And the shocks, that could have almost been deadly, but Kicks is.
Spike down A.
I mean, it was more of a decisive hit, yes, but it feels like it's the same result. Although note here, Runner and Safe both very weak. King not much better off, but look at the discipline, man. They're not giving him single fights.
All three players corralled backside.
This has just been beautiful from Vitality, unless King can slip the net, but even then, you find one, maybe. That's all it'll be. Vitality get to 9, and they've done so on both sides of the ball in beautiful fashion.
A great flood from Vitality off of Kicks' Dizzy. Everyone able to take space in the backside. Leviathan, nobody was watching Heaven whatsoever. Look at this freebie. I mean, no one looking at him. And yeah, King trades it, but the damage was already done.
Take on, yeah? Let's go, mafioso.
I mean, the calmness is working.
He's so calm.
The pace, the approach to all of this has been beautiful.
And I think that's a testament to how the gameplay has shown so far from Vitality. It has felt very calm. It has felt very methodical.
It does feel like it's been a stoic approach from both teams, but we talked earlier about the war of attrition and who it was going to favor. It really feels like it's gone the way of Vitality here. Arguably more than the score would suggest.
Yeah.
Again, more of a decisive hit from Lev. All 5 towards A. Spike goes down from Calm. He's going to have his ult online. King one away from his. Meanwhile, Kicks with another Thrash to play with.
Insane.
Waiting for the right moment to strike, now committing onto it as Runner tries to spam through. Save creeping forward. Tucking behind the smoke. Mazzino spams through it, and he will find a target.
There it is.
Yeah, they seem to be overwhelming Vitality here. This was notably more decisive. It was notably faster. And it was more successful.
That's the Leviathan we know. I've never seen them take such a slow approach on attack Icebox as they've shown on this map so far. They usually set the pace. They push teams to their limit. Aspas takes a bunch of aim duels backside at A. Or even when he gets deposited at yellow, he's hunting for them. He's not just sitting and, waiting, biding his time. He's got such good aim. When he's put in a spot like that, he needs to use it to his advantage. But Mazzino, he was the one that stepped up here, getting the spam kill, getting all the follow-ups.
I mean, as soon as you see that jet smoke go down, given how short it is, there's a really good chance there's somebody in there.
Yeah.
Trying to catch a timing around it, and Mazzino just reads it well.
That's the power of the Phantom as well. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
No tracers on the other end of it. Looks like it will be another A default from the side of Leviathan.
I don't know that I would even call it a default at this point. If they just continue to fully send,
Just
I mean,
a 5 send.
Yeah.
Different angles being taken now from Vitality, though. A more close approach.
They're investing a lot into this.
Yeah.
2 ults, the wall over the top, Safe is dead. Kicks might get spammed down as well. He will. A lot behind this punch as Mazzino finds 2. Maybe it's not knocking on the door of a tie game. Unless Sender and Runner can pull off a miracle.
What a great off angle. Aspas, the audio cue, but King
One step of the way there. Sender now pushing forward into his death as there were 3 still remaining. Leviathan have dialed up the pace these last couple of rounds, and it has been successful.
And it could have just been part of their game plan. Let's approach the first couple of rounds slow, make Vitality think that we're a team that's, you know, changing our own game plan, and then go back to the tide and true.
Dude, that replay right there just shows how literally impossible it is to play on the site. And again, if King continues to call this way and he continues to kind of accelerate a little bit, you are going to be stepped back a little bit. You are going to get pushed back if you're the defense.
Nasty, nasty stuff.
Safe with blades here, light armor for all of the defense.
It's another A. But this time, Tex, he's going to work up middle. And I like this.
I like this from Safe. With blades popped, all of these hits towards A.
Oh my goodness, he gets the first. He gets the second.
And now the smoke down to try to dash out and stay alive. That's beautifully done from Safe once more. Careful now. Almost finding a third. The spike's still up. Numbers the way of the defense. First, quickly as that round have started, Leviathan picked apart. And now Vitality can slow things down and play things the way they've wanted to play this entire map.
The harbor wall isolates so much of the site, though. Safe, he's going to have to push through to meet up with kicks. But they just play the disciplined game.
There's still so many members here.
Yeah.
Mazzino with the Cove.
Oh.
As it goes down, Mazzino does too. Aspas is going to have to pull off a bloody miracle. Now left in a 1v2. Spotting the ankles of Safe and understanding where some of the starts to list. 35 seconds left. There's a shot at this. He's got to commit to the plant, though. And that's exactly what he does. Spid at his feet, tanks it a little bit. And it's just a bit too much. Outnumbered and outgunned, Vitality respond.
The solo push from Safe. Leviathan thought that they did it. They thought it was all clear. They used the correct utility. But King, he just got taken out in the follow-up. It was too much. I mean, this is such a close angle to hold. You're not expecting something like that.
And the fact that he gets away with 2, almost lands a third. It's just really impressive. I mean, again, the desk was talking about it. Seal mentioned it on the desk. He looks towards Safe. To be the one to dial things up, to get in their faces, that's exactly what we just saw that round.
And he's brought the momentum from his last series into this one. He was popping off. Now he has that operator.
17 and 11. Perched up over 410.
Get out of my way.
Do they continue to try to hit this site?
Another 5-man A off the top ropes. Aspas.
Nicely done with the blades as he looks for a second. He had the drone to pave the way. And again, this is the aggression. This is the faster pace that we expect. It's like they're beckoning them to challenge these walls, to try to face through. That's exactly what they have to do here. As the Hunter's Fury comes out, Aspas with Ob, they're gonna have to deal with this lockdown too. They don't really have a response to this either.
They don't. Too many players inside. Oh, it gets broken for free.
Here.
Aspas just holding an off angle. There's 2 shock darts for Calm right now. Attack with a spike.
And again, the Op Sender down. As the walls go through, Trex gets 2, make that 3! Mazzino left alone. And it's not really, it's just barely planted for him, but I don't think he can get that angle in time. He has to get up close and personal. Kicks waiting on the other side, it's been halved, but the Red Bull clutch for Leviathan.
Trex tried his best, but Mazzino, he was too strong with the Phantom. The jiggling back and forth. Spots him off with a spike. And another clutch for him. He's woken up, he's online right now. This entry. Safe, he had no time. You cannot hear that audio cue.
Not from that distance.
Oh my God. Trex almost went nuclear in that moment. That was absurd.
I mean, he got 3.
Even his movement, he was jumping off of the rope. And relief for King, who, by the way, is sitting at 20 kills. The IGL of Leviathan.
Well, I think that's one of the things that makes Leviathan so strong, and that's what's made them so strong throughout the years. You know what you're going to get with Aspas, but Tex has been such an anchor for this squad, not just in defensively holding aside, obviously, but in the way he's been able to perform match after match. And then when King gets involved too, this is not like a atypical performance for him. 20 and 14 so far, he's looking great, but man, Vitality have really shown up on Icebox here.
Yeah, it's a map that they're 5-4 on. It's not their best map, right? But the game plan that they implemented got them this far. They're pushing Leviathan. It's a tie game right now, and it's still up for grabs. And somebody that you talked about earlier that I want to touch on is Tex. He's had a rough one. Icebox is normally a map where he shines. He's up there with Aspas usually.
Yeah, he's quiet now.
But he's been getting shut down. He's been getting shut out.
Vitality here knocking on the doorstep of stealing away Leviathan's map pick. Meanwhile, the attacking side.
Just go A.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, it has been successful for him, so why not?
Yeah.
Vitality actively denying mid space, denying B space. They've dropped the reckoning here.
And by the way, Doug, there's no Killjoy utility watching the flank that deep. So Heaven is completely open.
I'm surprised they committed the pit on this as well. Make that 2. How in the world do you navigate through this?
Deploying drone.
I mean, with pistols, you have a drone and stuff like that, but otherwise, you're just kind of face checking it.
Heaven, Vitality, he's going to get some free kills here. No one's aware so far.
The Thrash will help. Safe over the top, now dashing forward. Aspas is looking for him as well, but you've got kicks to deal with too. Trex. Huh? Sneaking up on to Tex. No way. Ah, that would have been so silly. Kicks is the one who steals the kill away, though, as Vitality take the lead again.
From the start of the round, it was a B push right away. Vitality, they didn't have good weaponry. The only rifle was in the hands of Safe. Of course he's going to push all the way through. Leviathan have only hit A for the last, how many rounds?
Yeah, 5 maybe?
And Tex,
4 or 5?
Yeah, and Tex didn't put an aggressive turret that was watching mid or the B push. It was so passive. Heaven was completely open the entire round. Aspas, he had too many angles to look at.
Best get calls in the game, bro. Let's go.
Seriously, I mean, he's
got so many. Yeah. Also, how many thrifties is that? Is that 4? MasterCard's getting their money's worth.
Yeah, something obnoxious.
And so I guess now that they've been beaten on A, they make a little noise towards B. Weaponry not great here, just 2 rifles.
It's so interesting with how many rounds Leviathan have won in a row that there's only 2 rifles on play.
They just had the drone clear out a lot of A, so that's going to allow for the rotation from Vitality back towards B, leaving Safe back A, sure, but the vast majority of their defense is here.
Oh, this is too much for Aspas to handle. A dart.
What a gorgeous combo of utility. And then again, Drex and Sender, a flawless round to get Vitality to map point. The dart over the bottom, the dizzy over the top on the other side of the wall. That's how you disrespect Harbor utility.
It's so clean. And Trex, it took him a little bit, but he's here. He showed up. What was that spray down?
What a massive moment. We have another timeout called from Leviathan, the last from either team. As Vitality, again, 1 round away from sealing Icebox.
And it's been such a team effort across the board from Vitality. Safe has had his pop-off moments, but the game plan has been to farm that Thrash on both sides. Let alone with the performance he's having, it just makes it feel like he has it every other round, and he's had it.
Almost every other round, you're right.
And also Vitality winning that last round cleanly without having to use that Killjoy ultimate, that lockdown. You have that now. And all you need is 1 round to close this one out. Tough stuff ahead of Leviathan. They're going to have to try to bait out these ultimates, try to not get first blooded. I mean, after losing that Thrifty round, that was an operator that was donated into the hands of Safe.
I don't know how LEV are going to do this, man. I'm not going to lie to you. They've got a Spectre to deal with light armor on comm.
It's so tough.
They have to find a way, though.
They haven't really worked the map at all, though. They haven't really gone mid. They've like pretty much only gone A. They went B 1 round, not shown any B default.
And it was on a light buy, but it seems like they're going to try to hit A again. This time, Safe ahead of it. Finding Mazzino. A bullet between his eyes. And Vitality are glad to play aggressively, given how the rest of the attack half has gone.
It's unreal stuff.
Placing swarm grenade.
The cloud burst through, the dash up, the drone out, sure. But now here's the problem. Even if you do get out onto site, you've got to deal with the lockdown. You've got to deal with Trex's ult.
And they just don't know what they want to do. Half in, half out. There was hesitation across the board.
And they don't really have the middle of the map either. And there it is, the save, the op in the hands of Safe.
You have to jump spot.
Wise to do it, understanding where their weakness was, where their gap lied. But the thing is, they have nothing to suggest that they've left A. So they're all still here. They're just walking into Vitality's crosshair, but Com's able to win that duel out. How much more can they find as, again, the walls are closing in. They're getting crunched on. You've got Sender, who's creeping right behind them, nipping at their heels, hot to trot. Hotspot's wise to it, but they've still got to deal with the rest of the defense of Vitality. They still have to deal with getting the spike down. And on their third attempt, it seems like they will succeed. Now it's on Vitality to figure out this post-plant situation, this retake with an op in the hands of the duelists. LEV have to play this very carefully. Vitality have been so good in these situations. Trex, can he be the hero again? Not this time. Leviathan get to 11.
And that was nearly impossible for Leviathan. They had no harbor wall to actually execute onto the A site. But the contact approach in that moment, the setup here from Com, breaking through, runner, he gets taken out, there was no follow-up. And the Hunter's Fury, yeah, was invested, it created commotion and chaos. Safe was able to convert one kill off of that, but the fighting squad was too much on A.
They've just relied so heavily on winning these gunfights.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw it in that round. There was nothing to suggest they had left A. They didn't have mid control. They didn't have any noise B. And it just so happened that they were able to win out the aim duels.
This is a really good buy from Safe, buying the Outlaw, understanding that the economy was broken a bit.
Leviathan looking to push this to OT. You hear the Outlaw go off. Start not tagging anyone, and Com's ult. Again, just causing chaos. No real damage dealt, though, as Safe falls. Big kill out from Aspas. He tries to get high ground. Dizzy's cleared. That shock's gonna hurt, though. Yeah, it's gonna hurt as Trex gets another. A 2v2 now for the round. Com up top. Almost able to clutch it out, but Mazzino delivers. We're going to OT.
In the last two rounds, Com has had such big impact. He may be sitting at 14 kills, but the kills that he's accumulating, they win the rounds.
Take a look at this again. We're really starting to see both teams really push each other and push themselves to the limits. Trex in the value he's had. You mentioned Com, how good he's been. Almost hits the third here.
Yeah, the flick.
Almost hits the snap down onto a runner.
The follow-up is great. Whew. What a battle. What a first map. I did not expect this from the side of Vitality. I did not expect them to push Leviathan like this.
Leviathan showing they can push back at least a little bit. And so the defensive side again for the #1 seed from America's Trex a little bit too far ahead of things.
Very overeager.
That's another one going down. And the approach is very different here from Vitality. As much as we talked about them playing it slow, them playing it carefully, they accelerate a little bit here in the first round of OT. And it seems like it was ill-advised. Kicks and Sender left to figure out where it all went wrong. In a 2v4. Now they slow it down again. A minute left in the round, though.
It's going to be so tough. It's a firing squad. The jiggle. 3 members primed and ready.
There's really no way in on this.
Yeah. Oh, that's a 1v1, though. Another one.
That's 2. He still has to get a couple more. 6 bullets left, and he can't close it out. And so Leviathan take the lead back for, I believe, for the first time since the pistol of the second half, maybe?
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Unreal. Tex, he finally steps up. This is what he's known for on this map. On the killjoy on the defensive side. I mean, look at those shots.
Yeah, those were crispy. And then Mazzino, too.
Yo, I sat these kids down, bro.
He definitely did.
And that might be the most emotive thing we've ever seen out of Tex.
I don't think I've ever seen him smile.
Right here.
And so Lev up 1 round in the first bout of OT. Aggression from the defense again. They're so far up.
Yeah, but there's a player all the way up the
Another fight towards A. Aspa slips the net. But Trex over the top. A little bit of damage out, a little bit of kills found, but still advantage the way of the #1 seed from Americas. The drone pushing through. 2 members left here, and they're ahead of this wall. They're ahead of the utility. They've got to win these fights out, though, and they're just outnumbered. There's no way they have enough, and now they have the reckoning that Cinder's going to have to deal with, a 1v3 to keep the map alive.
Spike planted.
For as much as they pushed Leviathan, for as much as they bended,
Toxins going up.
does not seem like they will break.
Toxin screen down.
Yeah, Com's wrapping all the way back around as well. King has a molly. There's still a cascade in play.
Toxins going up.
It would take a huge blunder, one of the biggest we've ever seen on the main stage.
Cinder dropping the spit, exchanging for the one at his feet.
Toxins going up.
Dart behind him too. I mean,
no.
This has to be the most miserable position for a player to be in. Again, Vitality pushed him. Vitality really gave Leviathan a lot to think about, mainly on the attacking side, but it was just not enough at the end. Leviathan weather things out. They close out Icebox, 14-12. Sunset on the other side of this. We'll be right back.
남자답게 남자답게 You wanna fight, you wanna fight 내 거 넌 보면 넌 뒤져 나 착해 보여도 피하지 않아 I 16 bars 그저 랭킹 봐요 나 해본 바로 못해 인기가요 내 태도 motherfucker I'm 몰랑 motherfucker 어쩔 나 move motherfucker 7 느끼는 heaven 피우 대신 치우 가끔 치우 대신 피우고로 배분 에이 씨발 씹스터도 웃겨 이 파까 입은 달라 이 씨발 알고 말해라 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8